How are you guys doing tonight? I'm Tony with Mobile Cup of Joe. We are a couple people short tonight, and we're a little bit late because for some reason I wasn't able to start the broadcast. I couldn't find that button, but we've got it. We got it going now. I've got my buddies Chuck Haynes, Ones and Zeros Chuck here, and back from the dead Fred. And it's been a long time since I've actually hosted, so I'm gonna be a little rusty. I'm gonna be relying on these guys a little bit. But let's go ahead and talk about let's give an overview of what we're going to talk about tonight. So I know Fred has some really exciting stuff from CE Week he got to go to in New York. He's got to have some really cool things and maybe some previews of reviews to come. And Chuck, you have had your hands full yesterday or today looking at different phone services to try to switch off of Verizon. So why don't we start with Chuck, and you give us a little rundown of what you've been up to and phone services and stuff if you want.
Well, yeah, so I've been trying to switch off Verizon. Unfortunately, I do kind of live in the middle of Kansas where there is questionable service on a lot of things. Although I will say T-Mobile does actually have good service here where I live. But as soon as I venture off the highway 5 or 10 miles, which is not hard to do here in Kansas, then T-Mobile's done. So T-Mobile, unfortunately, is not a serious option for me because, we go to my wife's family's farm and we're out in the country a lot, which, there's zero. I mean, not even 2G for T-Mobile. So we wouldn't even be able to make phone calls if we were stuck on the side of the road. So yeah, I've been trying to look. Google Fi has kind of ticked me off because everyone's getting their invite but me, and they rolled out this tracker. And yet it still says for me that they're trying to determine when I'm actually going to get my Google Fi invite. So I've decided to heck with Google Fi. I'm done with them. Obviously, I don't want Sprint. So my choices are stay with Verizon, look at AT&T, which I'm not super happy with looking at AT&T. AT&T service is okay, or looking at some other options. I have found actually, I think what is a great option, or so I thought, there's a company actually here in Kansas called Nextech that has their own towers here in Kansas, and then they have roaming agreements with Sprint and Verizon in every other state. They're awesome. They have a truly unlimited data plan. Like, there is no soft caps, they assured me. Like, they don't throttle you at all. $60 a month, unlimited everything. They do not throttle. It doesn't matter how much they use. The guy in the store said he's used 70 gigs in a month before, and he's not been throttled. So that's pretty promising. The only problem I found out today is they can't do simultaneous voice and data because they are a CDMA network. So it looks like I'm stuck with Verizon for a little while. Although they have said that they are looking into VaLTE and that, and so hopefully sometime soon, although they don't have a timeline, they'll have it, and then I can finally switch. So yeah, that's been basically what my week has been.
Awesome. All right, that's really cool. I know that a lot of people are trying to get away from Verizon right now, and I have a couple friends who are at least trying to get off contract with Verizon. So they're both looking at how they can cheapest both get Nexus 6s and just go on Verizon Prepaid. So we've been talking about that, but unfortunately they don't have the option to go to any other carrier because they still are in an area, or they spend a lot of time in an area, I should say, that only has Verizon service. So they're still a little bit under their thumb, but very, very cool to hear that there are other options, especially prepaid options, which are cheap and roam on Verizon. That would be a very good option for them.
Yep.
So I'll have to get some more information about that and pass it along, see if they'd be interested. Fred, why don't you tell us some of the hot points that you had from CE Week this week?
Sure. Are we still in the preview phase, or are we getting into details at this point? CE Week, for those who don't know, is a big CE consumer electronics show. It's not the big E, which is CES. International in Las Vegas, but this is I don't know if I can say it's the next biggest one, but it's the biggest one that we get here in the New York area, and this is one of the times that I'm real happy to be in the New York area. For those who don't know us that well, if you're just tuning into the Hangout or you're hearing this on the podcast, we're kind of spread out all over the country here. In fact, when I was at the show, a lot of people asked me, "Where are you guys located? Mobile Cup of Joe, where are you guys located?" I said, "Well, we've got where's your office?" They wanted to know. I said, "Well, we've got a virtual office. We're out in cyberspace, and we're all spread out all over the country." But one of the benefits of living about 25 miles from New York City is that I get to go to a lot of these events, whether it's the rollout of a new phone or something like this. And this is kind of like the granddaddy of them all. It's a big consumer electronics event. Big vendors are there like HP and LG. And then you get everybody from those guys down to brand new startups that are there, basically getting the word out on their newest products. So this went on, I think, for 4 days. The exhibitions were 2 days, mainly on Wednesday, and I spent the whole day there Wednesday. I could easily have spent the following day there as well if I could have spared taking the time off and making another trip into town. But I did not actually see everything there, but did get to see a lot of super cool stuff. And as far as I'm concerned, while the big guys there are rolling out their new products, that's the stuff that you see in all the press releases and the TV stations and big outlets are covering. The cooler stuff that I found was some of the little more innovative startups. But for those who've never been to this kind of a trade show, everybody's there with their PR reps, and I met a ton of cool people, made a lot of new contacts, walked away with a satchel full of stuff, which will be upcoming reviews, and traded information with a lot of folks who will be sending some more stuff, and I expect it's going to be a sufficient amount that I'm going to have to share the wealth with the other guys on the team here, so that we can give coverage to everything. And I've actually got the first thing that came in the mail today. But if we want to go there right now, I can show you guys some of the cooler stuff that I picked up as I was running around the show.
Yeah, let's go with the flow. Let's go with the flow.
Let's go with that. A lot of a lot of the stuff I did not get to actually walk away with. There was a lot of wearable related stuff, including some super cool virtual reality headsets from Zeiss, which is probably my favorite thing that I saw all day. We're fans of Google Cardboard here on the show. I have never handled an Oculus Rift or the Samsung Gear, is it? Their virtual reality headset.
VR.
Yeah. But Zeiss is a venerable and respected optical company, and they've now come out with their own virtual reality headset. And the main thing that distinguishes theirs from everybody else is that it's got really good lenses in it. So I did get to spend some time looking at a demo of that, and the rep there set me up with a headset with it was a zombie shooting game that takes place like in a deserted subway tunnel or some such thing. Extremely lifelike, extremely real. It was a very immersive experience. It was not at all difficult to suspend disbelief and feel like you were in the scene there. And let's just say dying surrounded by zombies closing in on you there was extremely unpleasant. So that was one of the cooler things. Another of the cooler things that I saw there was let me get the name on this and make sure I've got it right. It was a smart pen from a group called Neolabs. It's their N2 smart pen. And I'm hoping that I'm going to get one of these to review and test and hopefully do a video story on. But they couldn't. I saw the thing. I tested it. I played with it. I can't say that I fully understand how it works, other than the fact that the pen has a camera. mounted slightly right above the point of the pen, but it actually functions like an ordinary pen. I'm told that the paper that it writes on is smart as well. But what I was able to see done here was you've got basically what looks like an ordinary notebook of lined paper, what looked like an ordinary pen, and this was connected to a screen, to a tablet. And as you write in the book, you're seeing on screen an absolutely perfect, letter-perfect replica of what you're writing, and it's being recorded. It's essentially what I guess you would call OCR. It was able to read my script, and that's even my scrawlings, which is not that pretty and not that legible. It was able to read it, translate it into text, and as you turn pages in the book, which again looked like an ordinary notebook, the tablet recognized that you were on a different page, knew what page number you were on, and followed you as you leafed through pages. So what the practical implications are of that, I guess, remains to be seen. It's perhaps still in a proof of concept type phase, but super cool, super cool. Another of my favorite products that I saw there was also one of my favorites from last year. It was a little robot designed for kids called an Ozobot or Ozobot. Small, little circular robot with cameras on the bottom, about yay big. And what I saw last year was a prototype, which was basically able to follow colored lines on a piece of paper. You could program the thing so that when you hit certain geometric patterns or certain changes in color, it would make some change, either stop, go backwards, turn around, and so forth, aimed at kids to show them how to program things. What they've got now is they've taken it a step further, and they're actually using it to teach kids of all ages how to do programming. So in addition to being able to make this thing dance and play and so on, you can tie it into basically visual programming on screen, where they've got block commands that you could drop and drag to set up commands, which then get encoded into patterns of light. You can hold this little robot up to a spot on the screen where it gets programmed with these, and then it runs the programs as they set it out. So it looks like an interesting way, and I saw a small demo of the thing. I'd love to have it to play with, and hopefully one will be coming this way, at least for us to test and cover in a video. So those were some of the really super cool things that were there. As far as other stuff, as I said, a lot of wearables, a lot of audio, headphones, wireless speakers of all sizes, shapes, levels of power. So I guess that's where things are going. Some auto stuff too, and I did not get to spend nearly as much time with the automotive stuff as I would have liked to, and there was actually a separate day of an automotive conference. So again, could have spent another day there. Here's some of the goodies that I actually picked up. Here's one of my favorites. This is packaged this way, and I'm not sure why exactly the folks at My Charge bundled this with a bottle of champagne, but they thought it was a cute idea, and it is indeed. But this is, I don't know how well it's showing up on camera. This is a charger, portable charger, and the size on screen here is about what it looks like. I haven't opened this yet, but I did see it live. What's really cool about this is that it's a 12,000 milliamp charger with two outputs on it. So, you can charge probably any two phones twice simultaneously off of this charger. And I have never seen a 12,000 milliamp battery pack. In contrast, here's a nice little tiny pocket-sized one from Ventev. And this one is actually 6,000 milliamps. So they're packing a lot of wallop into small packages as far as chargers go. Some other goodies that I picked up, and I'm still kind of sorting through what came out of there. Here's a real nice, real neat little, very small portable speaker from Jam called the Trans Mini. And I don't know how well this will show on screen, but when you hit the button, it's got a little light generator, and
It is
it
cool.
yeah, it flashes patterns of light, and I believe can be programmed to respond to the music as well. So neat little party tool, neat little party toy.
You definitely have to do a video on that.
Yeah, we'll
That's
have to do a
gonna be
video
cool.
on that one, absolutely. On the theme of music, here's some other real nice stuff. And I'm not sure, well, I'm sure this is going to be for music because it's Samsung, which is a well-respected company in music gear. And this is a nice little compact portable microphone, USB microphone for recording. I hadn't. It's been kind of a busy week, busy couple of days since I got back from the show, so I haven't even gotten any of these out of the box. But hopefully, I'll get this tested and perhaps use it on the show next week
I've
to
seen
get
something
things
like
going there.
that. I've seen something like that where people were doing a podcast on location. So everybody was just kind of sitting around the laptop and they were doing a live podcast. So much different than the way we do podcasts, but very, very neat, to have a high quality microphone like that. I can't wait to hear how it sounds.
Oh yeah, actually, when I mentioned to the guy that we do a roundtable discussion, he was saying, "Oh, this is great because it's a multi-directional microphone." It was, and
Okay.
again, I had to explain that no, it's not that kind of a roundtable. It's a virtual roundtable. This was actually the last booth that I visited was IK Multimedia, just as the show was closing. And this is probably my favorite thing that I picked up, and Tony, you'll love this also. This is the iRig UA Universal Guitar Processor Interface for Android. Apparently this
Oh,
has
that's
already
awesome.
existed for Apple, but it's basically a software modeling amp. I spent some time with this on an Android device, on some kind of a tablet that they had there. They've had this for iOS for a while, but apparently Android provides. I'm sorry, they've had the software for iOS for a while, but iOS provides less latency than they're able to get out of Android. Apparently, Android has some inherent problems with latency, and they've gotten it improved, and they've gotten it down to, I don't know, 100 milliseconds or something like that, which is still a little bit too much to be really comfortable with recording. So what they did was they created an interface, and you can plug your guitar cable into this. It'll work with any kind of an electric guitar output. They had a Les Paul and an SG there, which was real nice. You can plug your instrument into this, and then this will plug directly into the USB port in your Android phone, and you have access to their Amplitude software at that point, which is kind of a multi-amp modeling tool with a host of effects and a host of different amp simulators. So I will certainly be doing some audio and video testing on this one, and looking forward to having a lot of fun with that one. And then one more thing here before I stop hogging the time and we can go on to some news and other stuff. As I said, a lot of people were not carrying samples and such with them, but I got a lot of promises of stuff coming to review and test in the coming weeks, and I already got the first one from Holoclip out in California, and this is a 4-in-1 lens. I had to get this to go with iPhone, so I'll have to get my wife to participate in the testing here, but this is a case that is designed to fit on an iPhone with a lens that fits over the camera, and it's actually got 4 lenses in it. It's got a fisheye lens, it's got a wide-angle lens, and I believe 2 macro lenses. So I saw some of the pictures that this thing produces, and they were awesome quality, and I can't wait to play around with that one. And I'm sorry, there is one more, and I promised Eugenia at Clip and Talk that we were going to give some coverage on this one. This is a kind of next generation hands-free Bluetooth earpiece, and they had a variety of them here. This is, I guess, kind of the entry-level one, which is called the aluminum. They've got an expanded line, and I saw but did not walk away with their newest one, which is actually got a whole bunch of health monitoring features. It's got it monitors pulse, and apparently they're even working with with a group that is looking to put some diabetes blood sugar testing that can be done through the ear. Have not gotten to spend too much time with this, but I will, and we'll keep everybody posted on this Clip and Talk aluminum as I get these things unboxed and into use.
Awesome.
So again, this only scratched the surface. I think there are more goodies coming in the mail in the next couple of weeks, and we'll all have a lot to talk about and write about.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Awesome stuff. I can't wait to see some videos on those, especially the guitar amp. That is really cool. They mention an MSRP on that at all?
I believe it is about $100.
Okay. Yeah,
and you're really paying here for the for that hardware.
Yeah.
Which is the interface that lets you play your guitar right into an Android phone.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see how that works for you, and if it's even worth using. Since you mentioned the latency, that sounds like a lot coming through a phone.
I think it's not. I think the point was that the hardware overcomes the latency that was native in Android. With iOS, they can plug it right into the device.
Yeah, it's always been a problem between iOS and Android devices, and you know, I don't do anything with music, so I've never really paid any attention to it. But I know that like DJs and stuff have always talked about the fact that they have to use iPads because there is no latency between them. You know, they can get all that mixing and stuff in. But you know, they can't do it with Android devices. You know, and like you said, Android has gotten better. Lollipop did a lot better, and then what I'm seeing, I guess, is Android M finally natively supports MIDI, which I think is kind of the big thing with the latency. You know, natively supporting that, not having the software do it. So maybe Android M will finally see, you know, that latency go away with Android. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, that would be really nice. I know that that's one thing that has always been glaringly obvious about the difference between Android and iPhone, and I don't know if they're caused by the same thing, but I know since the beginning iPhone has always just had that immediate response when you touch the screen. It's like you're moving it physically. It's like you're moving the home screens physically from one location to the other, and Android has always had enough of a lag that you can tell it's just touchscreen technology. With I always saw that, and with the first time I really felt like Android was getting a vault forward was with the first time I used a Nexus 5. So I really felt what Nexus users were getting because I was using Samsung most of the time. But yeah, that latency has always been a problem for us. Let's see. All right, next, let's go on to some freshly brewed news. So who wants to take the first headline here?
Well, I'll take it. We've got, so, you know, I guess probably it was kind of a slow week for news in general, but I guess, you know, T-Mobile did another one of their UnCarrier events this week, and this one they called Amped. So, you know, T-Mobile's actually been in the news a lot recently, especially their CEO, because he's really pushing. There's an upcoming spectrum, upcoming buying of the spectrum, low frequency, so 600 megahertz, which for those of you guys who aren't familiar with how cell phones work, the lower the frequency, the longer it can actually go, and it's more penetrable into walls and buildings and stuff. So, you know, Verizon has a ton of 700 megahertz. And they've basically been hoarding it specifically to cut out competition. Well, the 600 megahertz band is coming up here for bid soon, and T-Mobile has really been pushing the FCC to put in place some rules for this bid such that Verizon and AT&T can't basically just buy this spectrum and then not do anything with it. And the FCC looks to be fairly open to adding some of these restrictions to let these smaller carriers like T-Mobile and Sprint and possibly some of the other smaller carriers kind of get an advantage in buying the 600 megahertz spectrum because they obviously don't have the money that someone like Verizon has to be able to buy this stuff. You know, T-Mobile's been in the news recently for that. Well, their most recent UnCarrier movement called Amped, they announced it this week, and basically what it is that you will now be able to upgrade up to 3 times a year to a new phone anytime that you want when you're on their Jump program. Now, previously you had to pay an extra $10 a month to kind of get this feature, and it allows you to basically turn your current phone in, get a new phone, and then pay whatever the monthly fee for that new phone is when you turned your old one in. So you used to have to pay $10 extra a month, and then you could do this whenever you wanted. Up to I don't know what the old time was, but it's now 3 times a year. Whereas a lot of other carriers, you actually have to pay the phone off or pay a certain percentage of the phone off before they'll actually let you upgrade to a new phone. Well, T-Mobile's kind of getting rid of all that. So now your monthly payments on this program, instead of actually, it's kind of interesting when you look at it though, because now instead of actually owning the phone, you're actually leasing the phone. Because one of the things with this whole upgrading time you want is you have to turn your old phone in. So it kind of raises the question of you don't actually own your phone anymore, you're really just leasing it. Now, I haven't looked into the fine details of this actual program to see, like, if you actually pay off the phone, do you get to keep the phone, or do you still have to turn it in if you want to upgrade or not, even though you've paid for the phone? These are kind of always questions I've wondered about these jump-type programs, and I know even Verizon, once you've paid the device off, if you want to upgrade, with their monthly payments, you still have to turn that device back in. So even though you've perfectly paid for this cell phone, to get your next one, you're basically turning something back into the carrier that you've already paid for. So on the surface, AMP looks really awesome, but I'd be curious about the fine print because, no longer, we're almost going back to the point of contracts where you don't really own the phone anymore. You're really just leasing the phone, with the ability to get a new phone anytime you want. Now, for some people who like to get phones frequently, that's awesome. But I kind of question for the basic consumer who doesn't kind of understand this, you got to turn that phone in even though you're paying for it monthly. Is this really a good deal or not? So what do you guys think? Do you guys like it? Don't like it? What's your thoughts?
Here's my first thought about it is that, first of all, if you're paying off that phone, that means you've had it for, unless you're making bigger payments or you're putting more money on it than your monthly payment is, in which case you really probably didn't need to be on a payment plan in the first place. But if you're doing it the way that they want you to, you're not paying that phone off for 20 or 24 months, depending on the way your payment plan is. They do 24-month payment plan, like when I got my wife's phone, it's $27 a month for 24 months. So it's a significant thing. So say we were to both take advantage of this new jump program. We would be paying, say, $199 to $199 for the phone as a down payment. Because we both like high-end phones, so we would be paying the $99 to $199, and then we would each be paying about $20 to $27, unless you get a really low-end device, and you might be able to get it for $10 a month. This tablet was technically $7.99 a month. But you can pay that, so that's another $60 almost on our month. If I were to say we were both to go out and get S6s, it would be $60 on our bill a month just to have those phones on a payment plan. Then you've got $8 per line for the jump program, so that's $80, and that's before you get into your actual cell service. So for a family plan, 2 people, unlimited everything, and then the 3 gigs of unlimited data, 3 gigs of high-speed data, and then unlimited edge after that, you're talking. Now you're at, before taxes, with your phone, what you're paying to have those phones, what you're paying for your service, before taxes, you're at almost $200. So if you have a family like Fred, you have a family of how many people on your plan? 5?
5, indeed.
So 5. So if you're all taking advantage of that, this exactly as it is, say you all added the jump program, before that's $50 in jump almost before you're even paying for your actual financing on your phones, and then you're talking $20 to $30 a month per phone that you're financing. So, and if you have to turn that phone in after it's paid off, it's totally not worth it, because then you've paid it off and you're paying this jump fee for no reason, because you could, in 2 years, you could pay the same, you could get it anyway. The new program is the 3-month thing. If you're taking advantage, or not 3-month, 4-month thing, so 3 times a year. If you're taking advantage of that, you're going to be turning in the phone every time you upgrade, if you do it 3 times a year. So if you just want to jump around a lot and you don't care about owning your device, and you are very certain you are never going to break your device, because I don't think that you could turn it. It's not like insurance. It doesn't work just like insurance.
The current jump does have insurance built in.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
it's got what I was paying. It started at $2 or $3, but once we got up to $500, $600 smartphones, I think I was paying about $6.95 a month, or $5.99, $6.99 or something at Verizon, for what was basically combined extended warranty, which extended the manufacturer's warranty through the life of the loan, and then added on insurance. So basically, if the thing malfunctioned after the manufacturer's warranty was up after a year, you got a free replacement. And if you break it, lose it, drop it in water, etc., anytime during the life of the thing, it was replaceable with a deductible. So I
Well, I
believe that
know.
that's included in the $10 of jump, but I don't
Okay.
know what they do with that now on this AMP jump plan.
Okay, yeah, I know that. I don't know what the difference between the Jump and the insurance is now, because when Jump first came out, I was under the impression that it was replacing their insurance plan, and that it was kind of better because you could upgrade your phone. But then when I found out you had to turn in your old phone, I didn't like it because my whole livelihood depends on people selling their old phones. So that,
True.
to me, I don't like anything where the carriers are trying. Also, it's not good for consumers to be able to turn in their old phones and get a thing, because that means they're being uneducated. Because if you're turning in an iPhone 4S and you're getting $30 to $40 credit for it, that means that you're basically saying, okay, well, I don't need the other $60 I could get from this phone, because you could easily sell an iPhone 4S for $100, and then you'd have $100 to put towards the new device. So trading in your phone, unless you really are that rich and you just don't care and you don't need the phone anymore, whatever, but it's never a good it's never a good deal. And then adding all these payments to your bill every month, like, the reason people are on T-Mobile is because they're cheap. So that's where the financing really gets you, because, oh hey, you can go to T-Mobile, but you really are better off buying your phones outright before you do, because if once you go to T-Mobile, if you don't have phones to take with you, you're talking if you want a high-end phone, you're talking $20-30 a month per device you want, financing them, unless you're going to buy them outright. And if I don't know a lot of people who are going to T-Mobile and like, yeah, here, sure, I'll drop, $1,500 on smartphones. But I know with my wife, we did add the insurance on her device, because it's 128 gig Galaxy S6. So I added that, and that is they said it was too late to add the Jump program, but I could still add insurance because it was 13 days. So I added the regular insurance, which is $175 deductible to replace the device, and you have to replace it with the same device. So that's one of the things that differs from the Jump program. You can't go to a different device. So I don't know what the difference is between the how long you have or whatever, but I was under the impression that they did not have insurance anymore when Jump came out. So that's why I was thinking that you couldn't do just trading in a broken phone on Jump, because they do have insurance again now. So very interesting.
Well, that's true. When I asked them about insurance on the phone, when I signed on, which was last October, all I was told about at the time was Jump.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to see how the programs are changing. My understanding of Jump was that you still owned the phone, and it sounds like the deal now is different, perhaps, but it was that you still owned the phone, you're buying the phone outright, and you were eligible to trade it in. You were basically eligible to switch on Jump once you had paid off half of the price of the phone.
Okay.
But I haven't gotten to that point yet on any of ours, so we'll have to watch this carefully, and also see how things roll over to the new plan now.
Okay, yeah. So to move on, we have we have an interesting fear-mongering headline that's been going around Facebook. It is what is he? I think he's Middle Eastern, some sort of Middle Eastern man, I believe, peeling open his Galaxy S4 battery and saying that Samsung is spying on you because he found the NFC antenna in it. Now, if you're avid with smartphones like us, you know that there's an NFC antenna in every phone, every flagship phone since the Galaxy S2, I think, started it. I think the S2 and the Galaxy Nexus. And all the flagships since have all had that. There are frickin' commercials, the S-Beam commercials. Here, I made you a video. And so anyway, let's go ahead and talk about that for a second, Chuck.
So there was a lot of hubbub on Facebook, and all I have to do is say Facebook, and the average user is going to go, "Oh, that makes perfect sense."
Yeah.
Based on the average IQ on Facebook generally. Sorry to all our Facebook users, I apologize, but I just had to say it. this guy, was thinking that someone was spying on him and was trying to peel off this NFC chip on his battery because he had no idea what it is. So, public service announcement: no, Samsung is not spying on you. Well, unless you have one of their TVs that's always listening, then maybe they are spying on you. But as far as the phone goes, they're not spying on you. It is the NFC chip. It is in basically every single Android phone that you can buy. My Nexus 6 has it. I'm sure this blue device has it.
iPhones have it now.
iPhones have it now. Everything has NFC now. It stands for near field communication, and it literally has a range of like 3 to 6 inches, I think it is.
No, I'm pretty sure it's like within an inch or two.
Okay, maybe it's within an inch. Maybe it's even less than I thought. So the range of these NFC chips, you're literally talking about this. And what do you use this NFC chip for? Well, if you've ever used Apple Wallet, is that what it's called?
Apple Pay.
Apple
Google
Pay.
Wallet.
Or Google Wallet, and you tap your phone on these readers at the actual Walgreens or wherever you might do it, and it pays. That's NFC. If you ever tap two Android phones together and they start communicating, they're actually communicating over Bluetooth, but the way that they determine to communicate over Bluetooth is first NFC. So yeah, no, it's no one spying on you. It is literally just a chip in your phone that's doing what it's supposed to do.
Well, in Honeywell Cards, if anyone works at a facility where you put a card in your wallet and you wave your wallet by the door before it unlocks, that's NFC. You can actually, some of them, I don't think with Honeywell because they're too secure, but some of them, the less secure ones, you can actually copy that with your phone and use your phone to get into those places. So, so there are specific concerns, but the bigger companies like Honeywell aren't going to be easily cracked and replicated like that. But the concerns are not with the guys. What he's doing is he's unwrapping the battery on this Galaxy S4, which first and foremost, he was, I don't know if he was drunk or something, like, I don't know what's in this battery. So he's unwrapping the battery of his Galaxy S4, and he starts cussing and slurring and saying that Samsung is seeing all of your pictures and videos. And it's like, no, because even if they were, like, this is what gets me about the whole thing. Oh, your smartphone has a camera and they can always see what you're doing and they can tap into it anytime. Like, here's the reason that I find that unbelievable. Okay, even if it's possible, here's the reason I find it unbelievable. Because have you ever left your phone on with the camera on for a long period of time? It kills the battery. Have you ever been on a phone call for a long time using the speaker and the microphone? It kills the battery. These are some of the most battery-intensive things you can do with your phone. So no, they can't just tap into your phone. Well, even if they could, you would know, because your phone will be dead by the end of the day, and then some guy would lose his job because he fell asleep listening to your boring life. It's just not how things work. Anyway,
unless they're charging the battery remotely through the NFC chip.
The Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's
Wi-Fi's
right.
Charging the battery. Yeah. So, but I don't know why this guy opened up a Samsung battery. To me, here's the only thing I can think. This guy is probably buying cloned phones, right? From overseas, or if he is overseas, buying cloned phones, taking the wrapping off of a legitimate Samsung batteries and putting them on the cloned batteries so that people can't tell the difference. Like me, it's my job to make sure that people don't sell, fake phones on Swappa, and then trying to pass them off as legitimate. Because some of the big things that they tell you to look for with cloned devices are do all the symbols match on the batteries? Does it say made in Korea, not made in China? Or because anyway, so this is the only reason I can possibly imagine that this guy was peeling open the battery of a Galaxy S4. And he was obviously drunk because he didn't even stop to look up online what this antenna is. He doesn't know what his phone is capable of. Because if you've ever had to buy a replacement battery for one of these smartphones, you know that it will say right on the Amazon listing, NFC, non-NFC.
Yep.
Anyway, so that's our being mad at the internet for this for today. Let's see. We missed Qi wireless charging. So
yeah, this one's just kind of a quick one. Basically, and I'm actually kind of excited about this one because the reason I don't use wireless charging right now is because it's slow. I would much rather
Use it at nighttime.
slap my Nexus 6 on the Quick Charge 2 and have it charged up in like an hour and be done
Yeah.
with it. Qi has announced now that their new standard is going to be 15 watts for their wireless charging, which, for those of you guys who might not be familiar, 15 watts is, I believe, what the Quick Charge 2 uses to do its like super fast charging. So this means that next generation of devices, this is not current devices because it's not like a software fix. It's a physical hardware thing that they've got to upgrade on these phones. Your wireless charging is going to be as fast as we now have our quick charging. And with higher capacity batteries coming out all the time, I mean, the Nexus 6 was 3200, the Turbo is what, 42 or 45 or something ridiculous like that. 39. Okay. The next one's rumored to be like 45 or something. So with these higher and higher capacity batteries, you really need to be able to charge them faster. So this is definitely a bit of news I'm interested in because it is the sole reason I don't use wireless charging right now is because it's just too slow.
One reason I didn't care about it for a long time with the Nexus 6 because I had one sitting around, just like a Rav Power, shaped like a phone basically, and I couldn't get the spot on my Nexus 6. I thought that it didn't work anymore for some reason. So when I ordered my wife's stock Samsung wireless charger for her S6, I went ahead and grabbed myself like a $13. It looks like about that big and it's shaped like a guitar pick, and I'm like, I'm gonna make this thing work. Finally, I found the sweet spot on the wireless charger for the Nexus 6 is like right there, like off center and almost to the bottom. So the thing sits on this wireless charger like that at night. It's ridiculous, but I only do it at night because it works and it charges slow, and it is better to charge your battery slow when you have the option. But when you don't have the option, fast is better. But it's better for the battery in the long run. It's just I've never really cared because I know for a fact that I'm not going to have these devices long enough for the battery to deteriorate.
Yeah.
So, but I have been using it. I've been loving it, and also the wireless charger is smart enough to shut off when it's charged and then pick up like when you're like 5% down. Doesn't just start picking up at the first percent loss. So
Okay.
I like that because then it's just topping off at night and not continuously getting a charge from the wall, which I'm sure the wall chargers do similar things, but still, it makes me comfortable. But yeah, having the turbocharger, it's not very attractive to use the wireless charger at any other point in the day because if I'm even thinking to put it on the charger, it's because I have to go somewhere in 20 minutes and I want it to be tip top before I leave because I don't know when I'm coming home.
Yep.
But I am very excited to see that wireless charging technology is going to be taking advantage of the quick charge stuff, and look for it on Google Plus at some point. There's a interview with one of the Samsung technicians who talked about how they got the wireless charging on the Galaxy S6 to be so good and so fast. So that's a very interesting read if you want to do that independently sometime. And our last news headline of the day, but certainly not least, but we're not going to spend too much time on it, is Apple has removed all Civil War games from the App Store because they contain the Confederate flag. So we don't have to go into what's been going on. I'm sure if you don't live under a rock, you know what's been going on. And we don't mention this to bring up anybody's actual opinions about this. But the thing that does interest me is the fact that Apple has taken the executive decision to remove apps, and in some cases probably applications that people have paid money for from the store. So we'll see if there are. I don't know if there are any popular Civil War games, but let's see if this causes some kind of Flappy Bird situation where people are like, "Oh, hey, buy my used iPhone with Civil War 1863 installed." So I don't think that could possibly happen, but you never know what people will pay money for, and some of those Flappy Bird bills.
People's paid for Stranger Things.
Yes, that's true.
Flappy Bird, yeah, Flappy Bird loaded phones is probably the prime example.
Yeah. I tried to ride those coattails, but eBay ended up removing all those listings, so I don't know if anybody actually got. Well, they were Android devices, so it was easy for me. I just had the APK. I loaded it on all my old Android devices, tried to sell them, didn't sell one. Anyway, and I know that Amazon has followed suit in some way. I think Walmart has followed suit in some way. And I don't know if I should be saying followed suit because I don't know who did it first. But But it is interesting to see that they are making executive decisions to remove things because they contain something. And I think
A
the most
piece of history. I'm sorry. I just have to say it, okay? Look, I don't care what anyone's opinions are, okay? I really, okay, I don't know if you can say this on air or not, but I really don't give a damn, to be honest with you. It is a piece of history. The Civil War and the things that these apps are based on are
yeah.
historical events. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove, let's say George Washington from the history books because he ticked off someone in history now. So let's just erase that part of our history. It's so incredibly stupid. I understand stores stopping selling things. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't agree with it, but I understand it. Fine. That okay. You know what? I can probably deal with that. But removing a piece of history is just stupid.
Well, the thing that I think is without expressing any kind of without pulling a Chuck here, no, without expressing any kind of opinion one way or the other, I will say the thing that I think is odd is someone with an Apple device. Here's your homework, and I want you to comment on the YouTube video or the show page. Take your Apple device and go search for a World War II game. Because I'm certain that there is a swastika flag in the World War II games, which is arguably much worse. But I can't really make that decision. But still, we've got these things. I played Wolfenstein growing up, Wolfenstein 3D on my Windows computer, and Wolfenstein on my PlayStation 2. It's all about killing Nazis, and nobody is. And I think you can even play a multiplayer mode where one of the teams is playing as the Nazis. I don't know how they avoid that. I've never really been into the multiplayer thing, but still, like it's so weird that because of one thing happening, that this is the issue that is now spawning or spurring social change in this way. But we'll go ahead and move on. I have my espresso shot review. I did do an unboxing for this, but as one of our kind viewers pointed out, it actually released after Father's Day. So I'm sorry to everyone who saw what a great deal I got and wasn't able to take advantage of it because it was a Father's Day deal. I totally didn't.
Excuse me.
I totally didn't think about it. We got it stuck in the queue and it just neglected. It was uploaded and not made public. So. I do have here T-Mobile's Father's Day deal, which was the LG G-Pad F 8.0, the G-Pad F 8.0 LTE. Now it's kind of a mid-range, a low-end mid-range tablet. It has I'll just start with the basic specs. It has Android 5.0.2, a Snapdragon 400 processor, which I was kind of surprised because I thought it would be a 410, but it performs admirably. I think it's quad-core 1.2 gigahertz. 16 gigabytes of internal storage, 1 gigabyte of RAM, expandable up to, I believe, 128 gigabytes with a micro SD slot, 4,200 milliamp hour battery, 2 megapixel front camera, 5 megapixel rear camera. The website says it has a flash, but obviously it does not. From what I've heard, though, the front camera will flash you with the screen when you're taking a picture with the front camera if you have flash turned on. Very odd. I don't know why that they felt that was necessary. You'd have to be so close for that to do anything. Anyway, still, it's interesting that it's in the specs. 1280 by or 800 by 1280 display. It's polarized, the display, so I did have an issue at the pool one day when I had my my sunglasses on, which are polarized as well, and I'm looking at the tablet, and I logged on to Google Plus or something, and I turned the tablet sideways, and I couldn't see the screen anymore. So with this polarized display, if you have polarized glasses, you will only be able to look at this display in portrait mode. If you go to landscape mode, it's like the screen is turned off, and then you take your glasses off, and it looks just fine. So it's bright enough to be seen during the day, but still, especially if you wear prescription glasses, take that into account before you look at these. but very interesting. And I know that Jordan Keys, who we've had on the show before, he does a lot of stuff with XDA TV. He just did a video about this, showing all the different smartphones he had in his house and their effects with polarized lenses. I know he got the Meizu MX4 Ubuntu phone recently, and it's polarized in the opposite direction, so he can't wear his glasses and look at the phone like normal. He can't look at it in portrait mode. It's completely black. So very interesting that this is becoming an issue with smartphones, something that they haven't really thought about ahead of time. But to finish up with this, this is a very cool device because while it is a budget, it comes in at a budget price point. I think it's $240. The Father's Day deal, you get it for free. You pay taxes up front, which were about $40, and then they put it on a payment plan on your bill, and then they reimburse you the amount. They actually reimburse you slightly more than what you're paying for it on the financing, and then they reimburse you for the data line too. So it ends up being completely free. And for me, I'm paying less on my bill now because the data line is now free, which I already had. But because it is a budget device, I wouldn't normally have been attracted. But this device does come with some very interesting features. First, for a lower-end device, I had never seen a lower-end device with an IR blaster. So the IR blaster and then LG's Quick Remote app, which it makes it the most useful IR blaster I've ever used because I can just swipe down the screen and there's my TV remote right there. I don't have to go searching around my app drawer to pull it out. I can just swipe down the screen and boom. The first time you click it, it doesn't usually get it, but it has to load. So you click it once and then it loads. I don't know why that is, but probably just because it's a lower-end device. It's only got a gig of RAM. The second time you click it, it'll work perfectly. And then the other interesting things are it does come with a stylus, which is the same kind of stylus that the LG Stylo comes with. It is just the rubber touchscreen stylus. You can use it on your phone. It does not require the Wacom tablet, Wacom digitizer like the Galaxy Note devices do. And then last but not least, it has a full-size USB port on the top. So, I believe, 4,200 milliamp hour battery. You can plug your phone into your tablet and charge your phone. Transfer files. I haven't tried to transfer from an Android device over to this. I don't know how it'll mount. But I have plugged in a full-size USB mouse. It natively recognizes the mouse, and you can use it on this device. Plugged in a keyboard works, and I have plugged in a thumb drive, and the mass storage works from a thumb drive. But it does warn you that you can only use mass storage on one USB port at a time, so you can use a micro USB on-the-go mass storage device, or you can use this. But when you're using storage with one of the ports, the other one can only be used for charging. But still, very interesting device. Very happy I was able to snatch it for free. It has been a very competent device for being a budget or lower-end tablet. But it was good to fill the hole in my life since I got rid of my tablet a couple weeks ago. And does anybody else have anything else that they want to mention before we go? We got started a little bit late, but we're still a tiny bit under an hour.
No, I think I'm good.
Oh, well, one other thing, actually, I think I kind of missed from CE Week. I would be remiss if I did not mention these guys. Is a group called Quilt, which is spelled Kwilt. I met these folks at CES Unveiled last fall, which was kind of like the preview to CES out in Las Vegas. And what these guys have got is a photo app, which is a little bit different from other photo apps. It's basically like I don't know if a portal is the right word, but what this app basically does is pulls together all of your photos from your various feeds and various places of storage of photos, your Google Photos, iCloud photos if you have them, Facebook photos, Instagram, and a variety of other places, pulls them all together into one app and lets you arrange them in various collages and maneuver and manipulate them. And it's kind of an interesting idea. They refer to it as your photo roll on steroids because it's basically everything all in one place. They've done some refinements to the app. In the meantime, I spent some time with the CEO of the company and another member of the team, and it's a really cool product. They've got a little bit different of an approach from Instagram and Google and iOS, who all want to basically own all of your photos and have all of your photos sitting on their server. And they're not looking to do that. They're looking to basically index this stuff and give you ways of saving it, ways of viewing it, and ways of sharing it with other people. They've just rolled out another product, and I just got the email with the invitation to their beta, which is a real interesting twist on things. They said since most people spend a lot of time on their phone doing messaging, email, etc., what they've come up with, and it's the beta is for iOS right now, but it's basically an alternative keyboard for iOS, and they're working on one for Android also, which will give you the opportunity to, at the touch of a button on your keyboard, access this photo feed of all your photos, and very quickly, with just a couple of button taps, integrate this stuff into your messaging or integrate it into your email or whatever you're working with. And apparently they're in conversation with app developers and so forth to include this feature in their other apps. So I'll be playing around with that beta in the next few days on my iPad, and I'll let you guys know how it is, and something to play with moving forwards. But real cool, guys, and a real interesting idea, and a whole twist on the kind of Google and Apple model of wanting to own and actually have access to all of your photos. These guys are just looking to give you ways to index and share them.
Cool. Yeah, I'm always open to hear for replacement apps for iOS. No, I'm the type of guy who I always use the Google offering. So even if it comes to Android, I will check it out. But I don't know if I could possibly switch because I like Google services too much, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Kind of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of guy. So I like to have all of Google's services because everything integrates nicely. But I am interested to hear your thoughts.
But if it ain't broke, do you still break it? That's the question. You don't need to fix it, but you may need to break it.
Yeah, so that I have to say that I do, because I've rooted almost every device I've owned, and none of them have been broken until afterwards. So. Very interesting. Okay, well, I'm glad to hear. That you had an awesome time at CE Week. Chuck, did you end up actually going to a different carrier?
Not yet. I do have a loaner device from Nextech. They actually gave me an original Moto X, which actually does do simultaneous voice and data because it still has the two radios. So it's kind of like the Verizon devices where, like this year's phones, I think, like the second gen Moto X, the Galaxy S6, of course iPhones have always only had one radio. Anything has one radio, you can't do simultaneous, but the old phones you can. So this one actually can do simultaneous. But the cool thing about this, and this is me kind of bragging maybe on a Kansas company, is the fact that so I get this phone for a week to test. Do whatever I want, unlimited data, unlimited calls, do anything that I want with this device. I didn't put any money down. I literally signed a piece of paper, gave some information, and the phone's mine to use for a week. So pretty awesome. Definitely going to test drive it. Like I said, I think the simultaneous voice and data is my only limitation right now. Otherwise, I'd be switching like tomorrow.
Very cool. Very cool. And before we go, I should say I apologize. I don't have the correct everything that I should be saying. I don't even have our link available, but I do want to just go ahead and mention, because Audible has sponsored us, I want to go ahead and mention that if you are looking to find a place to listen to some audiobooks, you can get a free download when you start up a subscription, and we will have a link in the actual YouTube video. So come back and check out the link, because we do have a link that helps us out if you guys click on it and start an Audible membership. But check them out. They've got, I think, somewhere in the 200,000 big titles on Audible, and you can download them. You can listen to them without streaming them, or you can stream them through their app. a huge selection of audiobooks to listen to on Audible, and all the classics along with a lot of new hits. So check out Audible. I wanted to say it was audible.com/mobilecupofjoe, but
It's
that link.
it's www.audibletrial.com/mobilecupofjoe.
There we go. I was gonna say because I tried that link and it did not work for me. So audibletrial.com/mobilecupofjoe. Check it out. Get a free book if you don't want to continue with the subscription. No big deal. You can cancel. It's free for I think the first book download is free. But check it out. And I believe if you end your subscription, you can keep that first book that you downloaded. I do believe that is true. So thank you so much, Audible, for sponsoring us, and thank you guys for watching. We've had an awesome time with you. Sorry for the initial issues of getting this thing started. And Google, I'm looking at you because it was not my fault. But no, we had a good time. Let's see. Before we go ahead and head out, Chuck, what do you got going on this week?
What do I got going on? Not a whole lot. Next week is 4th of July, which so I don't know if we'll have a show next week or not. But if we do or don't, here in Kansas, basically every type of firework is legal. So it is my favorite time of year. Oh, I'm sorry. The only thing that's not legal here is sparklers. Which is hilarious to me, yeah. So the only thing you can't buy around here is sparklers, but I can go buy the big, things you shoot up in the air, and so we always have a lot of fun here because all of my neighbors spend like thousands of dollars on fireworks, and we don't even go to a fireworks show. We just sit in our yard, light off ours, they light off theirs, and it's like a show in itself. So that's actually all I'm looking forward to this week.
That sounds fun. What about you, Fred?
Cool. Well, I'll be sorting through all my goodies from CE Week and corresponding and following up with people that I met over there. I've got some music stuff going on over the weekend, playing in a kind of one-off impromptu band at a private party up in New Haven, Connecticut tomorrow night. And Sunday I will be at the Ramsey Farmers Market, which is a really cool open-air market where my wife is also going to be there selling her soap, handmade soap and skincare products. And I did last year, and I'll be doing again this year. A couple of Sundays, I'll be there as the entertainment portion of the market, and I'll be there with my acoustic guitar, and I may have a special guest or two stopping by to play with me. But it's as long as we don't get the rain that the weather forecast is calling for and get washed out, it's a real nice fun spot.
Awesome. That sounds really fun. I'm glad you guys have some fun stuff booked up for this week, and you're looking forward to. I forgot 4th of July was so soon, so I guess we are looking forward to that. It's pretty soon here now. Hopefully, I'll have my batteries in. That's what I'm looking forward to this week. Hopefully, I'll have my batteries in. The stock charger that came with my Cheerson CX20. This is why the review's been lagging, because the stock charger which came with this has destroyed all 3 of the batteries that I have. So I am waiting on GearBest to send me. I've been going back and forth with them for a week now, and finally I've gotten confirmation that they will be sending out the replacement batteries, but they did not even address the issue that the charger doesn't work. So I have a more professional charger for these LiPo batteries, so I don't want another one of the stock chargers, because I've actually heard that this is a common issue with the charger. I'm not going to risk it with another battery. These batteries are like $30 each. But I'm happy to be getting that, hopefully be getting in the air again soon, have some footage, have a review for the CX20. I've got the Fitbit Surge coming in that Joe has sent my way. It should be coming in probably sometime mid next week, and I'm excited to check that out and review it, because overall I've been kind of they're cool, but I'm unimpressed with most smartwatches, and since I've been living a healthier lifestyle, the Fitbit is the perfect one to pick back up and see how I like it. So that we're looking forward to that, and I should have a review of the Blue Life One 2015 edition pretty soon. I should have that up. The unboxing's up already on the channel. I should have a review put together with that sometime next week. So look for that on Mobile Cup of Joe. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your patience and sticking around with us since we're about a half hour over what we normally do since we started so late tonight. We really appreciate you guys as viewers. Share this video with somebody. Like, comment, subscribe. From everybody here at Mobile Cup of Joe, have a good night.